Hey everybody, welcome to Just Love Inspires TV. I am so excited because I have a very special guest today, which I think you will all very much enjoy. This is my friend Isaac, and he has his own podcast called If They Can Do It, which is really cool. He interviews a lot of inspiring people. And so welcome to the show, Isaac.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And just to give everybody like just a little bit more information, like really quickly on your podcast, can you tell us where to find it?
Yeah, so it's pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts. It's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Those are the two primary places that I find people are listening. If you just search If They Can Do It, there's a silhouette of me with my arms crossed like this, and I look really, hard with my tattoos and stuff. But I promise I don't bite or anything like that. But yeah, it's right. It's right on there.
Nice. Yeah, you actually have like a cool like template, like I don't know what you call it, like a logo. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like faceless, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hard to miss, guys. So that's what to look for wherever you can listen to podcasts. So today we're going to jump into a topic that you and I had actually kind of touched on like briefly, I think the other day, but there's kind of this, I would say, from my point of observation in our culture, where there's kind of this identity crisis where I think that people are feeling a lot of pressure to be something that's not themselves or who or not what they really are. And so I kind of wanted to chat on this topic today with you because I think that you're a person who's very self-assured, very secure in their identity.
as we
I
both
look up
laugh,
to
it's like it's a
you.
roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, I look up to you in that regard. Sorry, my dogs are playing in the background. Everyone knows on this channel I've got two small dogs, and they can be a little rowdy, but sometimes they make cameos, but maybe not today. If you see a wild beast running on the back of the couch, that's what's happening. They're running amok right now. But I was thinking, because you have such a great sense of self, that you would be a perfect person to talk to about this topic, and maybe even share some times in your life where maybe you haven't felt completely secure in who you are. But I kind of wanted to start with just talking about this kind of an epidemic, I guess, that we have in our society right now. Like, from my perspective, I see it as, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that I've shared on this, is that it's almost like our celebrity culture is telling us through all of our different social media channels, all of the entertainment that we digest, that we need to look perfect. We need to act a certain way. We need to believe certain things. We need to obtain certain things in our life. Obviously there's a lot of materialism. And, for me personally, I have actually stopped watching just like certain shows, and I'm a reality TV person, so I will fully admit that. And there's just certain shows that I've followed for years that I just felt convicted to just not watch anymore, because I feel like it impacts my self-esteem. And as a woman, you look at certain things and you think, oh, I need to look at this body style, or I need to have perfect skin like that, or I need to dress a certain way. And if you're not careful, it starts to pervade, who you are as a person, and you start almost kind of subconsciously like trying to run up this mountain, right? To try to fit into this like fake, really, culture that's online and in social media. So I don't know, what is your take on that? Because I'm speaking from the perspective of being a woman, and also someone who used to be in the entertainment industry, and I can share more on that later. But what do you see when you look out at the landscape of kind of the impact of like social media and entertainment today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I think I think there is a lot of impact to that. I mean, more than ever, because it used to be that you had to go to a movie theater, or, you know, the person on the radio was the person that you chased to be like, but now it's literally in your pocket and it's all around you and you're inundated. And the amount of hours that you're following somebody has gone up exponentially. It used to
Yeah.
be, oh, Tom Cruise. And the only amount of time that you can be inundated with that was the length of a movie. Like, how long
Right.
is Top Gun? You know, and that
Right.
would be the amount.
And
But
by the
because,
way, Top Gun 2, the sequel, is freaking
oh,
amazing.
it's amazing. It's amazing, by the way. So no shade on Tom Cruise or Top Gun or anything.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Okay.
I got some alone time about a week ago where wife and baby boy were out of town, and you bet your bottom dollar that's when I saw it. You know, I
Yeah.
went and I saw that.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but I think the best realization that I had is that when we look at celebrities and when we look at people who we look up to realize that whatever we're chasing, there's no there there.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that they're fake. It just means that what we attach to what we think it's like to be them,
Yeah.
that's fake.
Yes. Mhm.
That being a celebrity or being a leader, like even if in the business world, being a CEO is actually a pretty lonely life.
Mhm.
It's an extremely lonely life. And
Mhm.
so if you are chasing them because you don't want to be lonely, I think that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from,
That's
is
a great.
you're doing all these things to chase clout and you realize, wait, that was fake. Oh,
Mm.
wait, I'm still not fulfilled. Oh, I'm still not fulfilled. And I think it was Jim Carrey. There's a great video of him there that is pretty much encouraging people, you don't want to be famous. Like, you really do not want to be famous because of what comes along with it. I
Yeah.
sometimes I think about it in humorous terms, where if you make it, if you have that one thing that goes super viral on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever, like maybe you should ask like Vanilla Ice if he wants to sing Ice Ice Baby one more time. You know? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes everybody knowing you for something is the thing that makes your life most annoying. And so,
Yeah.
like, that's probably been the biggest takeaway, is that there really is no there there.
Yeah. I think that's great. And I think that the thing that you brought up is that, one of the things you brought up is that there's a perspective there that only that person holds
Mhm.
uniquely in their life. And, you know, we don't know from our perspective, just sitting on the couch or just looking at our phone or, watching TV or whatever, what that person goes through in their real life, because
Mhm.
9 times out of 10 you're never going to hear those stories.
Mhm.
Although I think it's kind of a strange paradigm, but I feel like there's this authenticity culture that's kind of evolved where people are more willing to speak out. Lots of well-known celebrity people have written books to talk about their different struggles, or they're more willing to be more open in interviews or go on podcasts and discuss things,
Mhm.
which is kind of an interesting paradigm that also kind of goes almost against the grain of this really well packaged, highly produced version of what you would see, on normally on TV or on social media. But yeah, I think that first of all, we don't really know what's going on in that person's life, or what it has taken for them to get to where they are. And I know for me personally, I was in the music industry from my like late teens basically through my early 20s. And I got to meet a lot of very, very famous, insanely famous, like globally known people that
Mhm.
like a household name. And it's so interesting to see how, just from a few interactions, how certain people would live, because they themselves can be very, very out of touch with reality.
Mhm.
And it's because that's the world that that's like a vacuum, that they
Mhm.
exist in, right? And so it's kind of like looking at yourself like in a mirror where there's a mirror facing you and you see like a million versions of yourself. It's kind of like we're looking at them with something that's not really real, or we don't really know what's going on. And then they're existing in their own world that's not really real. It's not real life, that, you know, maybe they don't always know what's going on. And so, yeah, I think that it's a great perspective, honestly, to when you look at people that you look up to or that you're following, to just realize that they're a person just like anybody else, and they have their flaws and they have their concerns. You know, I noticed that there was one show that I was watching where there was like a filter, and don't get me wrong, I love me a good filter on Instagram. I'm not against filters. I'm not shaming anybody. I like it because it smooths out the skin and makes me look just a little younger. So I will be the first to admit that I love a good filter. But see, these guys are going crazy.
Oh, I love it.
But I noticed that in certain shots, more of the confessional shots, there was like a filter that was on the person, but then there was a few times where they were following them where they were like in a restaurant or something like that, and they were filmed in different lighting, and you could see all the blemishes on their face. You could see the like the little imperfections, everything like that. But if you were just looking at the, you know, the perfect, you know, produced, you know, coiffed version of the, wow, I have like the Kentucky Derby going on over here.
They're hunting.
Sorry guys, this is real raw. This is just my life.
I love it.
I got two dogs. You know, if your kid wants to come up and say hi, you know, please do, because this is real life over here. But anyway, the filter just, it's almost like the mask slipped for a second because that filter wasn't there. And it sadly, it made me feel better about myself. I was like, see, this person doesn't like have perfect skin all the time. They don't like look, they're not 100% perfect if you were to see them in like normal lighting in person. And I also know that from my years of being in the entertainment industry, that when you meet people in person, sometimes they look like a lot different than they did like on camera or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just realizing that that's a real person and that they have their own like flaws and challenges. And I think that the other thing too about this culture is the aspirational, or the other element to this is that there's that aspirational kind of thing that everyone's going for because they see what people have, right? Like their clothes, the kind of house they live in, their you know, what their family looks like in pictures, not like in real life. Maybe you can speak into that a little bit because, you know, like for instance, you're a parent. I'm not, but you're a parent. You can speak into the realities of being a parent and how maybe seeing something on Instagram or TikTok or whatever makes things look great when reality is actually a really tough job, I would imagine. Or just like the superficiality of just like going for like these really like tangible things of like trying to earn, you know, all this money and driving yourself crazy, you know. I mean, nothing wrong with having extra dollars in your pocket, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you're a person who's, you know, had a career for so many years, and it's like, you know, I mean, personally for me, you know, I don't feel bad if I have something that's different than somebody else, but like realistically, like in the business world, everybody's at different levels. So I don't know, maybe you can speak into just like from like a family perspective or a business perspective, just like looking at things across this landscape and just, you know, kind of sorting out what's real and what's not.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I do is, let's say my perception that I want to put on somebody is that they're perfect. They're the perfect parent, fantastic, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Then what? Like, what do I do with that information? And so them being a great parent or them doing something that I may not have learned to do or I may not be good at yet doesn't say anything about me. So I don't feel any sort of way about that. If I see somebody do something that I admire, knowing that they are a person and knowing that I'm only looking at that 1 second that I admire them. What can I learn from that? And how could I grow from that? That's
So great.
Asking those questions really, really help me. And I'll be completely honest, being a parent is something that I'm probably the most insecure about. But it's also happening that like I have a toddler as I'm approaching 40. I know you can't tell because the filter, but
The filter, yeah, it looks so good. So good.
and the angles, I'm just, um,
It's all about the angles and the
I'm
lighting.
I'm approaching 40, and I'm sure you can talk to this too,
Mhm.
where the older you
Wait,
get.
shh, you're not supposed to tell my age. Come on,
Oh,
Isaac.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. and I mean, you can go into this on so many different angles that are just so unique because we've walked life together on this.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more you realize that your parents are just people and that
Yeah.
they were doing the best they could in the situation that they were in,
Mhm.
right? And you just have so much more grace for some of the stuff that you might have been angry that you had to go through as a kid.
Yeah.
You have so much more grace for them going, my parents were early 20s. If I had a kid when I was in my early 20s,
Mm-mm.
sweet baby Jesus. Like
Mm-mm.
I'm grateful I came out the way that I did, knowing that,
Yes.
like you just end up having some grace, and then you end up having some grace for yourself going, you know what, we're all figuring this out.
Mhm. I
Like
love that.
I am I want to be a good dad. And so what today can I do to make me go, okay, yep, that was a good day. That was a good day. And sometimes that's not a big thing. Like big changes and becoming what you want to become is not one magical thing. I wish it was. I
Yeah.
wish I could take out the trash one week and go, I'm a good husband. Like
Mhm. Amen.
I run it. But it's maybe I spent 30 minutes and my phone is in the other room,
Yeah.
with Grayson, and I'm right there with my little man for 30 minutes. Maybe that's the growth that I need today. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's that I wake up early and have my coffee and eat breakfast before he wakes up because I want to be there when he wakes up. Whatever that looks like. Like,
Right.
what is that for you today? And then at the end of the day, go, cool. I grew by that.
Mhm. I love that.
I've really come accustomed to the fact that becoming who I want to become is about looking at each day and going, what's my thing?
Mhm.
How am I going to look back and go, okay, I won today? And you
Yeah.
just kind of learn. You just kind of learn it. And I'm definitely not perfect at that. I take a lot of L's. Um, like some days I'm the worst communicator ever with my wife and like, hey, oh shoot, yeah, I'm sorry. I promised we'd go to lunch today with so and so. Like I'm
Yeah.
really bad at that.
Yeah.
But it's little wins matter. Little wins matter. So
Yeah.
if you want
They
to be
do.
a good parent, if you want to have, if you want to feel better about what's in your hand and what you have to work with, like we all have the raw materials to build our life, to build whatever we want. And objectively, that's it. Right.
Yeah.
I'm 5 feet tall. Objectively, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know. It's just what are you going to do with that? And how are you not going to hate the raw materials that you have
Mm.
and use those raw materials that you have?
That is a phenomenal point right now. How can you not hate? Well, I'm not even quoting you verbatim, but how can you not hate the raw materials that you have and like grow and make something out of what you actually have in front of you? Because everybody has different gifts, talents, just even by the way that they look, everything's unique about them. We're all uniquely formed. And I think that is a great question for somebody to ask themselves, if what they're absorbing and digesting through whatever media they're consuming, if they're starting to feel a little bit bad about what they're seeing with somebody else. It's just like, no, it's not really about what that other person has or that's different than me. It's about me. It's about how I'm uniquely made and what I bring to the table and what I can do with those particular facts
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
cultivate in my own life. And that kind of goes back to the whole aspirational thing, because I think the focus is more on material success, and not so much on what does that person have uniquely inside of them that can create whatever version of success that looks like for them. because I think success can look like a lot of different things. I don't think that it has to look like a mansion and 12 Lamborghinis in your garage,
Exactly.
you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not saying that wouldn't be nice, but you know, I mean, I
And
just think, go
quite
ahead.
frankly, most people shouldn't have that,
Yeah.
right? Like a lot of people who do have that are sad, like are worried about losing it,
Hmm.
are worried about anybody who talks to them that's all they want from them is a ride in the Lamborghini or to get, you know, freebies, paying for, you know, everything at the club or all of
Hmm.
that. And
Yep.
I I mean, you really have to think about the fact that the people who have that have to question anybody who's in their life.
Hmm.
And when you
So
don't
true.
have as much, there's an element of that, like there's an element of that on a small scale of what that can be. But when you have everything, that means everybody wants what you have.
Hmm. Wait,
And
say that again. Say that again. The people in the back.
you know, with the people with the Lamborghini, that is a thought process that they really do have to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like that is just a reality. And all of us have our raw materials, and kind of a trick that our mind plays
Hmm.
is everybody wishes they had somebody else's, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
and that no matter what level you are, the key is, how do I stop hating what's in my hand? Because you can try to be responsible for everything, but the only thing you're responsible for is what's in your hand.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not responsible for a Lamborghini. I'm not, and thank goodness I don't want that tax bill. I don't want that gas. You know, right now I don't want that gas bill. I don't want any of that. But you're only responsible for, if you shrink your world down to what has been given to you,
Hmm.
like that is probably the most powerful reality
I
that
love it.
that has blown my mind. My grandfather, and I act like I came up with this. It was my grandfather who taught me this, where he has certain rental properties in Wyoming, and and he would choose who he would rent to based on when they would drive up. It didn't matter what car they had. It didn't matter if there was rust. It didn't matter if the paint was coming off. It didn't matter any of that. If it was an old car, whatever. But it did matter to him if it was clean,
Mm.
because that told him that whatever that person was driving, they took pride in
They
what
cared
it did
about
look
it.
like.
Yeah.
Like they took care about it. And some of us are driving Miatas and some of us are driving a Plymouth Neon. I drove a blue, like Smurf blue Plymouth Neon when I was in college.
That's
And
actually
it's like,
amazing.
is what you have, is what you have clean?
Hmm.
Are you taking care of that? Because if what you truly want is more, then your more is going to be squandered if you can't vacuum a Plymouth Neon.
Yeah.
And so that
So true.
responsibility has become a big kind of theme that I've driven into my brain.
So
Is
great.
how am I being responsible with what's in my hand? And then you feel a sense of pride. And when you feel like, no, that's my car, like it may be a $800 car, but that's my car right now. It's not
Yeah.
going to be the car I'm going to have forever, but it's mine. And that automatically gives you a sense of confidence where you don't worry what somebody else has, because
Right.
you can't feel pride. You're not cleaning that. That's not your house. That's not whatever. But if you do that to your own stuff, that will change your life, the way you feel about what's in your hand.
Listen to you just smashing all of these like unhealthy perceptive like lenses that we have when we're peering into somebody's life from the outside. Like I'm just loving this so much. And you know, to kind of tie it back to the whole, you know, culture that we kind of exist
Mhm.
in celebrity culture, let's say. um you know, often see people who have so much crash and burn
Mhm.
because oftentimes it's not healthy for their lives to even have that much, you know,
Mhm.
like you having access to so many things. And this was another thing that I observed when I was in the entertainment industry is having easy access to so many things can spoil who you are, you
Mhm.
know. And I think that you know, it's almost like be careful what you wish for because you might get it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, there's so many people that we have on pedestals in our society that have struggled with addiction, who have gambled their fortunes away, who have broken families, who may have eating disorders. There's so much pain sometimes behind that perfect, pristine, image that you see. And so sometimes even just having a more simplistic, dialed down life is the healthiest thing that a person could actually ever hope for. And so I think that's an amazing perspective to have, actually, because sometimes what we, it's not wrong to want more. I think it's good to want more and to want to expand your tent stakes 100%, but not for the sake of having more, not for the sake of posting it on Instagram and having people admiring you and trying to get likes, not for the sake of people patting you on the back and just being like, you're so great, like, look, you're so successful. It's about what actually like matters at the core of like who you are in your life. And like you said, taking care of those really basic things, I think the more comes with that, potentially. But I think that the desire to have more, just to have more, thinking, oh, if I don't have that mansion or I don't have that Lamborghini, I'm not successful in life, that is a complete lie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, and the more and getting more should be a product of your ability to bear more responsibility,
yeah,
not to get more pot. Like if you're a CEO, the decisions that you are making are impacting many families.
yeah,
Right. Many, many families. And hopefully that has been built on the fact that you have been able to make good decisions with yours, make good decisions with then your 2 employees who you get. And as it scales, you've been able to maintain that. That is a hard thing to do. That is an extremely
yeah.
hard thing to do.
Mhm.
And one of the things that has taken the pressure off of me, with wanting to be somebody else, is, and this is a dark way to look at it, but I promise it'll get happy. So ride this wave with me.
All right.
If the person you would want to be today, more than anything, the celebrity or whatever, if they were to die tomorrow, by 3 months, they would be forgotten and nobody would be mourning them or crying about them anymore,
Mhm.
with the most of the people who are following them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just a reality. And that's dark. But what that means for me is that I can stop trying to be them.
Hmm.
Like, because I'm me, just being me. I don't have a million followers on any platform, and I may never have a million followers on any platform, and I'm okay with that. But what that means is, whoever I am then, if a celebrity is going to be forgotten in 4 months, that frees me up to just impact the people around me to the best of my ability,
So
steward what's
great.
in my hand, and forget everything else.
Hmm.
Right. I mean, I was just talking to a coworker, and it's like, even Steve Jobs, like the person who created the products that we're doing this on, and an iPhone, right? Changed the world with what he did. And yet he was replaced as CEO as Apple still.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
anybody, no matter how big or influential, there may be an initial sadness, but anybody is going to be replaced. So that frees me up to be me. And that actually is very liberating, because I can make mistakes. I cannot be perfect. I cannot drive the perfect car and still move forward in what I've been called to do.
Yeah. And I think also that not to get like weird, or I'm not trying to be like, the secret about this, like new agey or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that you do attract, when you are free to be yourself and you really embrace that, I think you really do attract the right kind of people and resources in your life, because you're able to recognize who you are and what you want. I think that's important, because you're not stuck on thinking I have to have the Lamborghini or whatever it is. I'm focused on it, making a direct impact on the life that I have, like you said, the raw resources. But I think that you automatically are able to build the kind of relationships that you want to, not that it doesn't take work, of course it does, and build the kind of life that's the most meaningful to you. Because you can, again, I keep referring back to the celebrity culture, but I think it's so important and crucial for people to understand this, that you can be at the very top or perceived top of whatever echelon, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at. And you can, like you said earlier about the CEO, can be very lonely. You can be very broken. You can have everything that the world tells you you need to have on the outside and not be okay on the inside. And I think that focusing on who you are and who you're really meant to be, the way that God created you, is one of the most important journeys you can take in your life. If you can be okay on the inside about who you are, the more okay, I should say, that you can be about who you are on the inside, it is truly amazing how that impacts the rest of your life. Because it does, it impacts your relationships, your work, how you take care of your home and your family. It impacts every sphere of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I think another key element is we're talking a lot about, being yourself. The ironic thing about it though is that it can't be done by yourself.
Right.
You
That's so
have
great.
to, when you're talking about celebrities and people who crash and burn, a big reason why is because there wasn't the person around them who told them no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to not do
Quite
this.
true.
And you have to have those people around you, and a community, like not one person, because I don't want responsibility for everything in somebody's life. But like, it's, you have to have the people around you who are going to be the people who tell you you're pretty. And you have to have the people around you who are going to be like your physical trainers, who are going to go, no, you can do one more rep, and you're going to do one more rep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in you, and kind of pull what you didn't know was there out of you, and who tell you no, like, no, you're a better husband than this. No, you're a better parent than this.
Mm-hmm.
And be humble enough to go, I trust that person, even though it's hard, they have my best interest at heart. So I'm going to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And celebrity or not, I don't think a lot of people have that community around them,
Yeah.
because the community is all digital, with people who may like them, no pun intended, like them, but who don't care about them the way that somebody in your life should, in order to mentor you, in order to really be behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, that is one of the biggest keys in life, is to work towards surrounding yourself with the right people, who are also on a similar journey of authenticity. That's one of the things that I love about you, and that I enjoy about our friendship, is that is definitely there. And I think that, because we are running out of time, but I just wanted to say that I think that if we're looking to curate any type of life, because make no mistake, what we see online, what we see on social media is curated.
Yeah. You get to pick what you post. You get to pick what you post.
Yeah, exactly. It's curated in one way or another. But if we were to take that term and kind of flip it, and make it more about, just deep down what we really desire in life, it's usually the relationships, it's usually being loved, it's usually being accepted, it's usually wanting to have purpose. And if we actually take those things and we lay those as a transparency over our life, um, I think that has so much more power and impact than what we might see on a screen. Because if those things are our focus, if building the relationships and having that quality of life where you can actually be satisfied with, what, I did a good job at work today. I'm
Mhm.
I'm I'm thankful that I have this job. I'm not a CEO, but you know what? I might just be doing customer service, but gosh darn it, I did a good job today, and I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
You know, I may not have done the right thing with my kid yesterday, but today we're having a great day. And I don't know, I'm not a parent, so I'm just making this up, but they're listening, we're enjoying each other, there
Yeah.
hasn't been any meltdowns today, whatever it might be. I had a great conversation with my spouse. We really connected. We had a misunderstanding, but we were able to hear from each other and communicate. Those, for me, those kind of things are what I consider successful things in life.
Mhm.
And I think we have to keep this ever present in front of ourselves, in light of the culture that we live in, that it's okay to just be satisfied with what we have and to be thankful for it. And we can always have more. We can always, have a healthy desire for more, but nobody's ever going to live your life for you. No one's ever going to be able to step into your shoes and walk the path that you're walking. And so it comes down to you, and just being, I think, grounded in the fact that it really is about the relationships, and getting in line with what the purpose is for your life. For me, those are the things that when I look at something on a screen, remind me of who I really am.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's true. And a lot of not hating what's in your hand or your current
I love
isn't
that.
necessarily saying that what's in your hand or your circumstance is good. Like
Yeah.
that's not saying it's coming to the reality that it is.
Right.
And so if it is a unhealthy bad situation that you need to get out, what's the first step to get out of it? If it is something that, maybe it's a job that you don't want, how are you going to leverage your time in this job to get you the skills to go where you are going need to
So
go or
great.
want to go, and so it's not this empty optimism. It's
No, it's not.
strategic realism is what it is. And so yeah, I ditto to everything that you say. I love it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that at the end of the day, we are all made for a purpose. And I think that if we can tap into what that is for our own life, we will have a lot less envy or coveting or jealousy for whatever else that we might see online. And I think that, or through our entertainment. And I think that that is probably one of the most important things that we can remember, because I think that that is the basis for a very satisfied, just thankful life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just want to say to anybody that's watching this, if you've been seeing things online, if you've been comparing yourself, if you've been making those comparisons, like I said earlier, I've been guilty of that totally. Just know that it's okay. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have struggles. It's okay to know that you are where you are. You're not where you want to be yet. It's okay. But these incremental things that we're talking about loving what's in your hand and taking care of that and watching that nurture that and watching that grow, um, investing in the time and the relationships you have in your lives. Those are the things that are real, that will center you and that will help you basically just have a greater sense of being joyful in the
Mhm.
world, and not feeling like you are missing out. You're not missing out on your own life if you pay attention to your own life and you um, care for the things that are around you, and you care, most importantly, for yourself and for your own soul. So that's what I wanted to say to people that might be watching and listening to this, if they're playing that comparison game. But unfortunately, we are out of time, or almost out of time. And so I have to wrap this up. But I want to thank everybody for watching Just Love Inspires TV. I want to get more episodes out to you guys. So please remember to like and subscribe and share so we can build this audience and get this conversation going. And hopefully I'll have some more fantastical guests like Isaac to have wonderful conversations with. And Isaac, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and for your heart that you shared today. And just to remind everybody, his podcast is called If They Can Do It, and you can listen to it wherever podcasts are available. Like, it's mostly Spotify and Apple, right?
Yeah, that's where most of the listeners are from. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, remember, guys, Just Love Inspires, and we hope that we inspired you. God bless you, and we will see you next time.